think street,
Right.
practice the art, and
That's
train the sport. So yeah,
exactly. I
those
love that.
three things, I really really like that. It was a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy that came out. I really should find out who said it.
Welcome to Anxious Black Belt, podcast that focuses on karate, mental health, and everything in between. Today, Brian Bates from Zanshin Karate is my guest, returning guest, and we're going to be chatting about a progress of training, developing coaches, upcoming seminars, and possible sparring sessions, inter-club sparring sessions. How are you, Brian?
Really good, thank you, Les, and thanks for having us on again. It's been a little while, hasn't it? So yeah, pleased to be
Mm,
back. Yeah,
yeah. What's new? So let's start with a your coaching development. You've got a few coaches. We had that little video on our martial arts channel about Kiran and Luke stepping in and helping you, and you being overseeing coach, developing the
yeah,
younger people to do stuff. How's that going about? And share the information about the Kudo group now.
yeah. So Kieran is the one that's been sort of leaping forwards with his coaching ability and his keenness to do it. So it's something, if somebody wants to do it, I think we need to embrace it and then encourage it. So Luke has been quite instrumental in developing that as well because he's got a good mind for it. Whereas I'm kind of a bit more of the old school where I just, Sensei does student copies kind of thing. But I think Luke has been quite instrumental in thinking of ways to help Kieran develop in his coaching and almost giving him little projects, right, go away and think about this, come back and see if you can bring it back to the club, or how can you teach this, this project to the club. So it's been a learning experience for me. I mean, as a job, I'm a driving instructor, so we're there to coach. I'm there to coach my learners, my students. So rather than teach them how I learn to drive, it's very different now. So you get people to think more about what they're doing rather than me telling them how to do it. So we kind of have a similar approach in the karate club. So if for example, we'll give them as Q grades, we'll give them applications for kata. So we have our set applications, but as they progress through the ranks, so particularly going up to Dan grades, they've got the basic understanding of it, and then it's for them to unlock things themselves as they go on. So as far as coaching goes with Kieran, yeah, he's been getting around a bit with his different
Mhm.
arts, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, judo, kudo, um, and it's bringing them all back in. And like I say, he's our kumite coach now. So as a kumite coach, his skill set physically has developed. So I think it's easier for him now to explain to people what he wants them to do, if any of
Mhm.
that makes sense. Yeah. So it's his development in his own skill set has helped him as a coach as well, from the way we've helped him too.
Mhm. So you're just delegating the jobs now, and I was actually
It's
thinking about it. So recently, we our myself and one of my students, Nick, went to Brian's dojo for a friendly sparrings, and we've been talking about this coaching ability, and it got me thinking and spark up my idea that I am not great kicker. My hips are not designed to go high, but Nick's are really good, and he does a really, really good kick. So I've decided copying you a little bit, and he's going to be doing the kicking sessions, technical kicking sessions, and I can do drills, but he can
yeah,
demonstrate it better than I can do. As we know, explaining is good, but when you visually see, some people learn better from
exactly, yeah.
visual. So,
Yeah, I think that's important as well. So when people can see, I'm similar to you actually. As I've got older, my hips aren't what they used to be. So,
mm,
if somebody can do it better, why not let them do it? And this is the same, like I say, with us with Kieran. I found over time he started to become a better coach for kumite. So why would I keep teaching or keep coaching the kumite when there's somebody else in the club that can do it better than me. And I think the old way of doing that, the old school methods, the sensei of the club would never let that go. I don't think they'd ever let their junior students take over those roles. So
You would lose your face, wouldn't you?
exactly,
You
yeah,
did
yeah.
that.
You think,
Yeah.
oh well, maybe he's not the best. Maybe he's not the best sensei if the junior coach is doing it. But I don't see them as that. I see them as my equals. They might. I don't know how they see me, but I'm just the owner of the club, really. At the end of the day,
Hmm.
So, and I'm going to move this guitar because I feel like I'm getting a little bit of a echo in my ear. So let me just put that there.
Make gifting easy with Benson and Clegg. Handcrafted cufflinks, luxury accessories, and a proper British style. Trusted since the 1930s by royalty. Get 15% off with code Karate15, exclusively for Anxious Black Belt podcast listeners. Shop now at bensonandclegg.com.
Um, Yeah, so we've recently done a similar thing now with kata because I think we go through phases in the club where we're all into self protection. So we really invested ourselves into that and went down a really deep rabbit hole, did loads of research on it, and spent most of our time doing it. And then you forget the kumite. So now we've really took a deep dive into kumite, and you forget, oh, we haven't done kata for a while. So now we're coming full circle again. I think actually, particularly for our black belts, we get to first Q, and then beyond that, in their downgrades, we've kind of neglected them a little bit, and we've not given them anything to do. So we
Mm.
kind of we had a little I had a little chat with Luke, who's kata coach. So we said let's give the black belt something to do. So we've kind of gone back to if I'll explain it, but Les will remember the old bastard tasks, the
Mhm.
bunkai bastards. So the way the
Mm.
tasks worked, we'd pick a kata or pick a section of kata, then we'd give the members of the group a month or 2 months to go away and study that piece of kata and analyze it and come up with their own bunkai what fits them. So now we've decided that's what we're going to do with the black belts now. So we're going back to the old tasks, but it's within the club now, so it's not
Mm.
um, out to the public. So it's a way of bringing the kata back into the club as well. And particularly as an older karateka, I still like putting the gloves on and I still like
Mm.
sparring, but I still like the analysis of kata, to break it down. And we, as a club, we've got our set pieces for all the hyans because we stuck with the hyans. We talked about this before dropping kata,
Mm.
but we stuck with the hyans and we stuck with teki or naihanchi and basai. That's it. They're the main katas that we do. Like I say, so we thought let's have a little bit of an exploration into some of the others. I mean, Shotokan's got 26. It's
Mhm.
not going to be in our syllabus, so it's in our curriculum. We can take a deeper dive.
Mm.
So yeah,
I think this is a very familiar situation for all the clubs that are multifaceted. If you just sport, you focus on the sport. But if you do branching out to the different things, because I'm in the same boat as you, so we've got through the waves of
yeah,
interest of mine, right?
yeah,
Sometimes we do focusing on the knife defenses because we need to catch up on that. We haven't done it for a long time. Then we jump into self protection. Then we jump into sport. Then we jump into groundwork, kata, and so on. I think it's healthy to have those phases. I used to do 6 weeks, 3 weeks each. No, 6 weeks each. So we had like a 6 weeks of kata section, 6 weeks of sparring section. But I thought it was a little bit too long between for people. They get bored.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't.
Yeah, I mean, so what our plan was with the kata, we thought, well, we spend a month practicing the form, and we don't spend a long time doing it. It's probably 15 minutes of the lesson, so it's not a massive part of it. But we're still traditional karate, so we thought it's important that we stick with our roots. So 15 minutes of form. So the Q grades will be learning their form. So either Luke or I will lead the black belts, and the other um, one of us will be taking the Q grades, so we decided, yeah, a month on the form and then a month to analyze it. So it's not a really long time, but then, you know, over that 2 months time, we'll look at another form. And I thought also it will keep Luke and I on our toes as well. So we can go back to our traditional I say traditional in bunny ears, inverted commas, background where we, out of the 26 Shotokan kata, at one time, I think I probably knew 24 of them, which is a lot to know, isn't it? And now I'd only probably be able to pull out a dozen out of the top of my head, out of the 26. So it's good. I think it'll refresh our memories and it'll keep an interest, won't it? So, um,
Yeah, it's always something different, and it's nice for students to know those forms and think about them and develop their own strategies to how to use them, right?
yeah. And I think we've mentioned this maybe in person or maybe online, but as like we're martial artists, so it's nice to study it as a whole, isn't it? Rather
Yeah.
than like you say, rather than just because we're not a sport combat club. We don't enter the ring or the cage or anything like that. We do it as a hobby. So and
Mm.
we enjoy it very much. But it's a part of what we do. And then you've got the other part, which is the study of the kata, study of the art and the study of the sport. So yeah, I like to do it all. So just never enough hours in the dojo, is there? That's the trouble.
Yeah, exactly. But that's why I think it's very important to have a clear focus on what you want to teach. And I really like that quote you stolen from somebody else,
We
which
stole
I
it from somebody
always,
else.
always mix it up. But you said that you like to practice as on the street.
Art. Yeah, so it's
The,
think street,
right.
practice the art, and
That's
train the sport. So yeah,
exactly. I
those
love that.
three things, I really really like that. It was a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy that came out. I really should find out who said it, but I got it off of my one of my kudo instructors, Ashley Clues Jones. Yeah, so
Mhm.
think street. So when you're doing your basics, so our basics we really strip them down now. So it is very. I don't know how Kyokushin do it, but kudos are just basically striking basics. So it's like a
Mm.
jab, a cross, a hook, an uppercut, elbows, knees. So our basics, they're like gross motor techniques, bread and butter. So if you ever got into an altercation, they're the ones that you'd fall back on. So yeah, think street with those with your basics. Practice the art with your bunkai and all your applications, and train the sport. And I think if you do all
Mm.
three of those, you're a well-rounded martial artist, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely sounds correctly. So odd question. If you've been 20 years ago introduced to Kudo, would that be your choice of the martial art?
Um, Possibly, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, um, I wonder if it's actually. I was going to say, I wonder if it's got a lifespan for your body. Like any
Mm,
any combat sport, you
mm,
perhaps get to a certain age and you're knackered and maybe you can't do it anymore. But talking to Spen, who's the UK, Mark Spencer, the UK, sorry, not the UK, England Kudo president. He's saying, when you go to some of the tournaments or some of the seminars, there's guys in their 70s still doing it and still sparring. Not necessarily heavy, but they're still sparring and having fun doing it. So potentially, I don't know. I still like karate really because
mm,
it's a broader church. I think with the
mm,
kata, it's got the kumite. It doesn't
mm.
focus
Um,
as
uh,
heavily on the kumite.
when we've been researching Kudo in early 2000s back in Poland, we've been considering joining Kudo, but for various reasons we haven't. My understanding was that they've got two roads. The Kudo is the sport, and they've got the Kudo Daidojuku, which was the original thing, which is the art. So
Yeah,
you don't have to compete with it, but you've got more like all-round health system
yeah.
within it. So you can choose the both ways.
Yeah, I've not researched it that much. Kieran's the man. That's why he's our
Mm,
Kudo lead. Well, he's our um, lead in our study group in Dunstable, which I
mm.
suppose
Because that's something new that appeared recently. I've seen online that Kiran was appointed to have the official recognition of the Kudo group, wasn't it?
yeah, and again, what we
Mm,
said earlier, it's kind of rightfully so that's I think that's the path he's more interested in, and is a very good kumite coach, and hopefully he'll be a very good kudo coach. He's been training it for a while now, and he's graded a couple of times. He's got a grading coming up soon as well, so good luck to him for that. Um, but yeah, he's definitely the one to put forward for that. I felt rather than again as the club owner take that mantle on myself. And it's a time thing. He's a young man and he's not got a family yet, so
Mhm.
he's got the time on his hands as well. So and he's very keen to do it. So you know again we said we need to encourage that enthusiasm.
Are you open to the idea? So being in a kind of few organizations, seeing kind of breakouts and evolution of the clubs, and something similar happened to us. I'm not saying it's going to happen to you, but
Yeah.
just have you had a thought that maybe the whole club gonna drift to kudo completely?
No, no, I don't think so. So it's only opened up to the adults, teens and adults at the
Hmm.
moment. Um, but I've got some older members, if they listen to this,
Hmm.
sorry, but similar age to me, and they have more of an interest in the sort of karate, the kata, the application, and the self protection. So if we had, we've got quite a few teens, younger, sort of mid-teens and older teens, and I think they would be interested in it more, because
Hmm.
it's a young man sport, isn't it? Really,
Yeah.
when you look at the sports side of it. So they might drift towards it. And if they did, I wouldn't be upset about it. I think if that's their choice, that's their choice. And I've had it before where I've had students that had an interest in grappling, and I've said, go off and try judo or go off and try Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and they've gone and had a go and they loved it. And then I never saw them again. But
Hmm.
at least they found something that if they enjoyed it more than karate, then that's better for them, isn't it? And
Exactly.
I've tried judo. I've
Hmm.
done. I've stuck with Aikido Jiu-Jitsu, but I've always come back to karate. So you always go back to what you like best. So I think, yeah, if students go off and do kudo, so it's good. I think in its infancy in the club, because Kieran was already running what he called Tuesday night strike night, which
Hmm.
was basically pad work, and then sparring drills and sparring. It was just an hour and it was high intensity. And I think he had about 6 hardcore students that would be there every Tuesday. So out of the club that we don't have a massive club, but
Hmm.
out of maybe 15 adults, they would still train their karate, but they would do that extra night as the strike night. So I think those guys are going to carry on and do the kudo because they really enjoy that sort of training. Um, but yeah, I don't think too many would drift off. And if they did, good luck to Kieran. I wouldn't feel upset about it. I'd encourage it really because, I want to see my students grow in whatever field they choose. So if his choice was to move away from karate, which I don't think he will, but if he did, then I'd encourage him to do it.
Hmm.
And like to see him succeed as well. Because that's your job as a
That's
coach, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's very unique in karate. As I'm learning recently, I've got emails from a very high in quotes.
Oh,
One,
yes.
they are high in a hierarchy of Okinawan karate, but I don't see them as high in a kind of moral and I don't know the respect wise because it's just like so ridden with politics and
Yeah,
bringing
but
other people down and complaining about stuff. It's just crazy.
well, actually, yeah. I mean, to email you, and I don't know what was in the email. I don't know who they were, and maybe you don't want to say it publicly anyway. But for somebody to do that, it's just crazy. It's just how important do they think they are? It's
Uh,
it's the karate gods have spoken. You must obey, Les. So stop
only
what you're doing immediately.
only because the guy is a direct student of very highly
Okay.
respected and recognized instructor in Okinawa from generation to generation.
Yeah.
Okinawan head of the yeah. It just that doesn't matter. I just don't want to get involved in politics. So my email was, in short, my kids are running around. Fuck off.
Two-word answer. That's what it needed.
Yeah. I
Save a lot
just
of
said,
time. Save a lot of time.
why are you bringing me into it? I'm not interested. I just done a
Yeah, that's
video
it.
on
Yeah,
my take.
you're not part of their organisation. It doesn't really matter, does it? Why should it matter to them? But
Precious.
interestingly, I remember you did at the seminar with Ian last
Mm,
weekend. You did. We looked at the Nukate section in
yeah.
Gochio Show, or Dive, which is it's Gochio Show, wasn't it? I think the
Well, for us,
Nukate.
it's just go Gojushi
Coach.
or Useishi, which that's
Okay.
the stem of all the problems and emails I'm
Okay, right,
getting.
oh, right. Because you were saying about this guy talking to you about the nukate should be to the
Yeah.
solar plexus. I looked at an old video of mine. It was Hyan Sundan or Pinan Sundan, and it
Mm,
was the nukate that I did in the turn. So I did it as what most people do is a turn and a throw. And
mm.
I noticed I had a comment similar. You're wrong. The nukate should be spear hand to the chest. And I
Yeah.
thought, my reply was similar to yours. Yeah,
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 it's funny, but it is their world. If they're happy in that playground, playing there, that's their stuff. It's nothing to
yeah.
do with me. So I do stuff the way I see. I'm
What?
confident in myself enough that I'm just happy doing what I do.
Well, I would also say you're doing stuff that works. That
Mm,
works for you and your students, and people that you're teaching on seminars now as well. So
mm,
it's tested. It's pressure
mm.
tested and it works. So
Yeah,
I'd
yeah,
like to see a nukate to the sternum or the solar plexus pressure tested. You know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
how many people
That'd be
can do?
nice.
Yeah, how many people can do it?
But you don't question Okinawa master, do you? You just
Well,
you don't
uh,
say us hi,
yeah, of
hi.
course, because us is rude in Okinawa, so you
Yeah.
wouldn't say that.
Speaking of, I'm gonna do a little bit advertising. We having this weekend coming out our new series of T-shirts done by a um, artist, Spirit of Osu. So
Okay, I'll have
there
to
you
keep an
go.
eye out for that then.
And
Yeah, I'll keep an eye.
that's gonna be going all to support the Card for Mental Health and raising funds for a our project because I don't know if you heard in Guildford was a stabbing. Unfortunately, 15-year-old
Oh,
kid lost the life. Guildford is top of the women assaults, and we applied for a fourth or fifth time for funding for Mary Abernathy. Now I keep wanting to say
yeah,
Stevens, um,
Sensei
coming and
Abernethy.
doing yeah, coming and doing the women's self-defense, and yet again Guildford funding bodies, including police commissioner, say that they don't see how things like that will benefit the society. There are more important projects, and they will not fund it. So, if you guys want to help, grab the t-shirts. All the money goes into doing free workshops for women from the disadvantaged backgrounds with disabilities and mental health issues, so they can feel a little bit safer and learn the useful skills from the people who teach that on a daily basis in India and UK and have a super knowledge in that area,
Yeah, so
which
Mary's
is,
amazing in that field, isn't she? She is probably one of the
yeah.
best in the UK, isn't she? I'd say with her
Mm.
knowledge and the things she's done for fair fight in India and stuff like that. So she is top notch when it comes to that.
She's
Surprised
even,
that nobody would fund it.
yeah,
Yeah,
she's even better now with the appropriate surname, automatically
yeah.
bumped up 2 levels up.
Yeah, that's
But
crazy. And, yeah, it's sad about the
yeah,
stabbing as well. I mean, I live right next door to Luton, and if any UK listeners would know, Luton's a pretty bad area for things like that, knife crime and stuff. So anything that would help, um, stop that or educate against it, it's got to be a good thing, right?
yeah,
So
but
yeah, it's just crazy that the local councils or authorities won't help support it.
in their defense, I had a message today from the funding body, and they said, "Listen, we really appreciate your work, but we've got 80 pockets of money, and we've got over
Yeah,
350 applicants. We need to choose and make some
yeah, yeah.
hard decisions. So, if that's gonna
I
go,
get
the
that.
money
Yeah,
gonna go to the people who are severely disabled and gonna help them go through the
yeah,
life.
yeah. Food
That's the way it
banks and
has
stuff
to
like
be.
that. Yeah,
So,
anybody's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
starving. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
So,
yeah. I
so
suppose
it,
they got a tough job. Yeah, that's fair.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Yeah,
we're not giving up. We've got few ideas to get the funding different way, and it's gonna work out sooner or later. Or whenever it's gonna work, it's gonna work. But we get it. But speaking of seminars, we've got our seminar upcoming really, really quickly with Christian. I asked Christian to be on this podcast today, but I told me politely, I've got
he
better
said.
things to do than chat to you too. I'm in a cinema.
He said, is
So,
Sean Connery going to be there? No, I'm not coming.
exactly. Um, So I think that's gonna be great. We've got 20 people already booked in for it, and we still got nearly a month to go. So I'm sure there are gonna be much more people joining us because I noticed that recently bookings for seminars are on the very, very end of the time allowed to, because I think everybody's just looking at their finances and try to
Yeah.
jiggle things to use them as a education slash fun for themselves. So,
To
so
be
I hope it's gonna
honest,
be more people.
I mean, I'm guilty of that myself as well, you know. So
Mm,
I try. I understand what it's like. Obviously, I've run seminars myself, so I understand what it's like. You want people to book early, so you've got a good idea of numbers. But like say now, you kind of you literally wait until the last week and you think, right, are we going to go with it or not? You know, so
mm.
yeah, because people do seem to live at the last minute, and I am guilty of it myself because it's not something better going to come up. I don't know why I leave it to the last minute. Really, if I get it in
Mm.
early and get it on the calendar, it's all good with the wife. So you know,
Yeah,
it's better if I do it early. Yeah,
same
yeah,
for me. Same for me. Do you
yeah.
got a plan what you're gonna be covering on the
Yeah,
our
so
seminars?
yeah, so my section will be the joint locks, and I've been having this at the club and at the Aikido Jiu-Jitsu club as well. You know, I think joint locks are always missold as well because really for self-protection you'd be calling them joint breaks. You know, so
Hmm.
we call them locks because we do it in the dojo. We do it as a lock, but in reality, you know, you put that extra pressure on it, or you know, do it ballistically, and depending on the situation, and it would be a break. So yeah,
Mm.
that would be what I'm covering. I think we are we looking at from a point of kata. So are we going to stick with the Hyang kata, or are we going to go on to other kata? I don't know if we've actually discussed this properly, have we? How we're going to do this?
No, no.
Yeah,
But going to the joint locks, I think it stems up from the use of the locks for police and restraint, right? Because
they use it. They
in
would
in
use yeah,
yeah, because in jiu-jitsu you mostly, or at least the way I've been introduced to Japanese jiu-jitsu is like you hold them and wait for the police, right? So
yeah,
you kind
yeah,
of joint lock them
yeah,
through the pain
yeah.
compliance. So I
But
think
prior
that's
to
where it
being
comes
used
from.
in law enforcement, they would have been breaks, you know. So,
Mm,
but my Aikido Jiu-Jitsu instructor works in law enforcement as well. So, you know, people who say, oh, they are um, technique of opportunity, they are. But as soon as somebody puts their hands on you or grips you up, you've got a great opportunity to lock them up if you so wish to. And my Aikido instructor, he uses them not on a daily basis, but he uses them within his job. And before he had this job as well, he used it. Funny enough, he locked somebody up. So somebody was, I don't hope you don't mind me saying the story because I've not named him anyway. But if anybody
mm.
knows me, they know who he is. But somebody was breaking into his shed in his back garden, and he caught them, and he took them to the ground, and he locked them up, and he thought, right, what do I do now? So he was holding them in a lock, and he thought, how am I going to call the police? So I think he shouted to somebody in the house to call the police. And then he's going, right, now I've got to hold him here for however long it takes the police to come.
Yeah.
So he said, in the end, he thought, I can't stay here forever. So he goes, right, are you going to behave yourself? And he kind of let him go. But he told it as a really funny story, you know. But you can imagine, you know, somebody holding a bad guy in the back garden and thinking, right, how long do I stay here for? What do I do now? And I suppose the downside to that is if he had an accomplice, you know, so if the
Mm,
bad guy had a friend, then you can't stay there and lock somebody up.
exactly.
That's when potentially, I suppose, you do a break, or you know, you at least try and scare them off. So yeah, but yeah, it was quite a funny story. But yeah, so I'll be doing joint locks, and like we talked when you came to my
Mm,
dojo, um, there's an abundance of them in karate and in kata, and I know it's not
mm.
taught in most modern dojos, but I'd imagine, you know, in Okinawa, the birthplace of karate, you know, where you've had your discussions with your friends. I'd imagine they're taught a fair bit there. And in the practical circles that we mix in, you know, I'm sure more and more people are adding joint locks to their karate. Um, so yeah, that's what I'll be doing, and I'm looking forward to it. And probably towards the end of the session as well, we'll perhaps try and get like we did at my dojo. We talked about it, how we drill it live. So we perhaps get into some low level live drilling. So you know you can see it put in action because that's the best way to to actually practice anything, isn't it? So you
Yeah.
learn the techniques and then try it out for real. So that'll be my plan anyway. That's what I hope to do.
So you're gonna be
And
mostly
you're throwing. Go on,
yeah, you're
go
gonna
on,
be
carry on.
mostly
Sorry.
yeah, that's okay. You're gonna be doing it based off a Shotokan versions of the kata, right?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, that's the only versions I know of kata really. So I've never really explored other arts, or other styles. So it would be through my Shotokan and Aikido Jiu-Jitsu lens. That's how I'll be
Mm.
looking at it. Yeah,
So I'm
but
gonna try to
it's
go. I'm gonna try to go in towards more a Goju versions of the kata because they've got the nice grappling built in them, a few nice takedowns and throws, and then Christian gonna do his take on Shotokan versions of striking. So I think it's gonna be nice combination with a lot of variety for everybody. Something.
it'd be really good, and it's kind of the three pillars of karate, really, isn't it? So you've got your striking, your locking, your throwing. The striking is what everybody mostly does, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think for me, from a Shotokan background, that would be um, my priority is the striking, and then the
Hmm.
locking and the throwing is secondary. Whereas maybe for you, I know we were talking this the other day with your wrestling background, and maybe the style of karate that you do, you feel
Mm.
like your grappling and throwing is maybe
Mm.
primary, and then striking
Yeah.
secondary, perhaps.
Yeah. I see karate as a grappling with additional strikes and kicks. But it
I,
depends on my sequence and moods, right?
yeah,
Sometimes it is this way, sometimes it's the other way. It depends on the phase of karate that I'm going through.
yeah,
But but I think that's gonna be a really good combination. And I think anybody from the whichever style come in gonna enjoy it because all the kind of karate movements are very similar in both of four or six lines of karate. It all pretty much stems from the one. It's just fucking movements.
exactly. Yeah, some wise man said that once. I heard. Yeah, and if you don't like, if nobody wants to come for you or I, Les, we've kept Christian a secret. That's why he's not on the podcast, really. But
Yeah.
apparently, I mean, I've only met him twice now. Actually, he's a really nice guy. Really,
Mm.
really nice guy, and really skillful as well. His striking is brilliant, isn't it? And from what I hear, everybody likes Christian anyway. So whether we like him or not, I know you're very good friends with him, but yeah, his enthusiasm is really infectious, isn't it? So
Yeah,
um,
I don't know where he's getting the energy from. He's like a 5-year-old kid, really.
he must really,
But
really,
yeah,
really like karate. So
yeah. And let's move to the topic which I'm really interested and I really like because I'm organizing open mats and your guy's been visiting us. You came with Jan Drachman when he was visiting spar with us. Now we've been in your club, and despite the opinion out online that there is no friendly sparring and it's always a ego involved in it, which I really disagree because anybody who comes to us is treated with respect. We never had a problem, never have an issue. We went to yours. There was no problem. We went for sparring seminar with Tracy Radley. Their guy's been super. There was no issues. Everybody was behaving. There was tons of people from other dojos, and we all had a great fun. So I think it's just what atmosphere you creating, people
absolutely,
adjust. And
yeah.
you've got the idea of creating like a group of the dojos that can support each other through that sparring, so we all grow in the sparring realm.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. So I think within the practical karate community, um, the main focus is on kata and kata bunkai, and I think a lot of us would have come from a traditional background with probably points sparring or kill, not the Ippon
I believe,
Kumite type, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, or point sparring, and kind of my sparring's evolved from that now. So it's more like yourself. It's all in karate. So we'll include grappling, throwing, groundwork, all in within our sparring, and we're not. I mean, particularly again, I talk about my age. I'm 53, so at my age, I'm not going to go and compete. But I
Mm,
still love putting the gloves on, putting the kit on, and having a sparring session. There's nothing, no greater feeling than you know, trading blows, and you create great friends through that as well, don't you?
mm,
And I thought maybe like us. tournaments. We don't have tournaments to go to if our younger members want to, and for the instructors as well. I thought, as an instructor, I still like to spar with different people, and it tests. You can grow from it as well, yeah. So it tests your skill set. You get better through training with different people. So I thought, let's try it. So rather than doing it as a seminar, just have an open mat, and I will be putting invites out. I tested the water. I was just going to do it for juniors initially to get the kids in my club some sparring practice. But now I just thought, forget the kids. Let's have the adults have some fun, So, and hopefully, the dojos that we've got local to us, or fairly local, that people don't mind travelling, we'll get this open mat off the road. So I've talked to Luke, and we've come up with a date sort of in mind in between our gradings. I did contact Terry Monksfield. So if you're listening to this, Terry, I'd still like to do it at Waltham Cross because it's a great venue. It's a judo centre with judo mats, which would facilitate the kind of sparring that we'll do. With a bit of groundwork and grappling and throwing. If we can't do that, Luke and I think we've talked about using Cranfield, which is it's a good facility, and the mats are pretty decent there as well. So, but yeah, the idea is to get a small community of instructors and clubs. So it's not just for instructors; it's for all the Q grades and Dan grades, and have a friendly environment for growth within Kumite, within sparring.
I think because I just moving to new location from Tuesday, but I spoke with them. Although it's a church, we can use it on Sundays, and we've got quite a big space. So we're gonna be, continuing the open mats as well. So I think if we do a kind of different locations for the year, then people from different locations can travel more. But what I think is that we're gonna need to find a way to advertising, because most of the people associate sparring with a heart beating.
Exactly.
I think that puts off people because when you say sparring, people think competition.
But so I think go on.
I think wording it wisely is the key to have more people.
Yeah, well, I think I was going to kind of initially cherry pick clubs, so that we can have a little circuit with. So local to me, and if I forget anybody, don't be offended on this, but off the top of my head, I was thinking of Doug Connell, because Doug's very close and he's got a good mix of adult students, Q grades and Dan grades. So, I thought that might interest him. And if you talk to the instructors first and say, this is how we're going to do it, it's going to be light sparring. It's not, or Tai Chi to the death like you do, Les, or light sparring to the death. But speak to the instructors and make sure the instructors know that their students know. And also, like you say, it's creating that right environment where even when people turn up for it is to lay the rule down from the start. This is how it's going to be. If anybody's stepping over the mark, you're off the mat. I don't care kicking somebody off the mat, and if they don't like it, they can speak to me afterwards. But it's the most important thing is people have got to enjoy it. And when we came to your dojo and sparred, there was no injuries. And we came away with big smiles on our faces, and we said, we've got to do this more. And hopefully, when you came to us, you had that same feeling. So we want, we want to create that environment in an open mat session. And other arts do this, don't they? So boxers often have they don't call it an open mat, but they'll invite other gyms over for sparring sessions. And I know, I taught somebody to drive who did Muay Thai, and they always had interclubs, is what they called it, actually, interclubs. And they weren't proper fights, but they were just friendly sparring, and that's how the students get better. So I think, for me, the practical karate community, I feel can do with this. It's one of the things that perhaps we're neglecting a little bit. And even if it's we meet up every other month or every third month, whatever it is, I think it would be a good thing for the practical karate community.
Yeah, for sure. So my open mat came from my son's BJJ club. They've got open mats, and he invites. So after every grading, kids can get their parents and roll with them. and it's
Yeah,
open mat so the other clubs can come in. And the atmosphere is fantastic. It's no ego, people coming from all sorts of different clubs, all train together, all roll together. So I thought, well, we can do that in our club. We just need to have a atmosphere coming from the dojo who hosting it, right?
yeah,
If I'm gonna be insecure, people gonna be insecure. If people coming into the insecure dojo, they're gonna feel that, and the ego gonna start kicking
yeah,
up, right?
yeah. Absolutely. I even think, sort of set the rules down at the start, even give a demonstration of how light it should be, and what, and also for people to, and you say this all the time at your seminars, if you don't want to partner up with somebody, then don't, and don't be offended if somebody don't want to partner up with you, and if your partner says that's too heavy, you got to respect your partner, and it's if somebody wants to go light and again, it's like you can agree the rules of combat before you start. So I only want to do like kickboxing. I don't want to do any groundwork,
Mm-mm.
and agree it before you start, So if it's something you're not happy with doing, but then also if it's something you're not comfortable with doing, it's good to get out of your comfort zone and just say to somebody, "I'm really not comfortable with the groundwork. Can we do a little bit of that, but just work on, just work on positional sparring sort of
Yeah.
thing, So it's to improve all of our skill sets. But I only mentioned Doug Connell earlier because he's close to me. But yeah, we got when I reached out to some people before, Benjamin Griffiths, and
Mm-hmm.
Ian Haynes, says they got a nice, a nice group. So I thought
That's a
maybe
session karate, isn't it? Session karate.
that's right, yeah. So I thought they're not too far away from me, so I reached out to them, and they was really up for it. I messaged Terry, but he's sort of mostly juniors. This is when I was reaching out for the juniors. Terry was up for it. Steve O'Brien, and I thought Tracy, she's a bit further out, but I thought Tracy perhaps be up for this. And I spoke to Ben at your seminar, Ben
Yeah, yeah.
Slack, and he was up for it. He's like, yeah, we'll be definitely up for that, because when I look at Ben's videos of his club sparring and that, very similar to what we do. So,
Yeah,
and
I'm actually going to them doing some sparring and Ashihara stuff in May. I think we talked about it today. So yeah, they are very up for it. They want to come to our dojo as well for training and stuff. So
when you're talking, is this Mark Howes at your dojo, or is this something completely different?
no, so the band invited me to their club
Ah,
to
okay,
to do my version of Ashihara Karate. But as you're
I
speaking
see.
about Mark House, we're gonna have a Mark on 19th of April in Guildford. So if anybody would like to join in, hopefully next week gonna be a web page where you can register interest.
Yeah, I've actually shared the link, and we got a WhatsApp group for my club, so I shared it to my
Mm.
seniors just to say this one is a date for your diaries, and if we can make the effort to
So
go, we should go to
you
this.
you
So
tr- you train with Mark, right?
last year at Cardiff at Mouse Sanchez Jones, when he did the Kudo seminar for the weekend in Cardiff. Mark, really impressive. Yeah, I've really, yeah, old school, isn't it? So very, very
I don't know. I never trained with him.
okay, right, yeah. But the impression I got is somebody you wouldn't want to mess with. So, but he's a really, really nice guy, but hard as
Mhm.
nails is the impression I got. Um, so I'm looking forward to it actually, and one of the and again my Kudo coach Ashley Clues Jones. Mark was his sensei for a while as well.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, I think Ashley was talking about coming down to it as well. So hopefully you'll have a few from
Cool.
Zanchin on it, but we're looking forward to it. So
Cool. Yeah, because
yeah.
with Mark, we've got so many friends around the world, but we never actually met except the podcasting.
Okay.
So it's very interesting for me and everybody who knows him says he's a top martial artist, and it's time to get him here and from
Yeah.
Scotland
He
and
was no
train with him and
nonsense.
see.
Yeah.
Mm.
Very nice. He didn't, no ego when he was teaching that, but you could tell it was no nonsense, and you could tell it worked. You knew it. You didn't need any proof. You just know it works, what he does. And it was really, really good, really, really nice with it as well. I mean, and these are the best times. When you're training, when you go to the bar afterwards and you talk to people, So he was there
Mm.
at the bar afterwards, uh, talking freely to anybody who wanted to talk to him. So really, really nice guy. So yeah, we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, this year I'm focusing more of myself on myself, not of myself, and inviting people actually who I want to learn from. Mark is one of those people. I invited as well Mal. That's going to be September, so Mal's coming to our dojo as well. So it is kind of for me to train and people
Absolutely.
to come and support the venue.
Yeah, I mean, this is
So
why I started a club in the first place. It was just out of pure selfishness, you know. So
mm,
the karate that I wanted to do, there was nowhere around, you know, that was doing what I wanted to do. So it's why I broke away from my organisation and started by myself. So I was running a traditional 3Ks Shotokan club before that, but yeah, it's like, okay, this isn't what I want. I want this. Nobody else is doing it. So yeah, you got to do what you want to do, haven't you? So,
mm,
um, but yeah, have
exactly.
you trained with Mal yet? Then?
I trained with Mal and I taught with seminar along him as well.
Oh, okay.
No, did I? Yes, I did. I trained with him 3 times.
So you've done so much these now, Les, you just can't remember.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it
Or is it
is.
your age?
I heard. Yeah, yeah, both. I think. I think if you asked me 10, 15 years ago if I'm gonna be having a year, this year I've got 26 seminars
Wow.
or teaching lessons. So
Wow.
it's like how did that happen? It was just a couple of years ago. I had one person on my seminar. It was my student, and
Yeah.
that was my one of the first seminars. And now it's just like unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
It's really.
you've put the work in, Les. You know, so
Mm,
nobody can deny that you've worked hard at it. You got personally, and the people that I train with, we all think you've got a great skill set and you teach well. So you deserve it. So yeah, well done.
yeah,
26, so
thank.
you're a busy man. So
Well,
yeah.
I've got a good person to chase. Christian, I've got the 33 or
Oh,
35
okay. He's setting the
this year.
bar then.
So yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like we ring each other and say, "Hey, I've got a seminar booked in. Hey, I've got a seminar booked in." But
Okay.
he's
Yeah.
ahead. He's ahead.
Yeah. It's funny though, because this year I was talking to like the coaches in my club, like Luke and Kieran, and I was saying, actually, this year, it was every year I wanted to do. I want to do seminars. I want to teach seminars, and it was this year. I said similar to, but different way to you. It's like, okay,
Mm,
maybe I don't want to do it this year. Maybe I'm just going to focus on myself. So, we got the Kudo Club or the Kudo study group starting in Dunstable this month. Actually, starting this Tuesday is our first study group
mm,
night. So I thought, right now I'm going to start going to things that I want to go to, and perhaps not try and because it's stressful as well, right? Trying to
mm.
host a seminar, you think oh, is it, like we talked about a little while ago. Anybody going to turn up? And then who turns up? Is there going to be any dicks there? Is somebody going to try and call me out on what I'm doing, or it's that like we talked about. Everybody talks about the imposter syndrome. Now I've been doing this a long
Mm.
time. I know what I'm doing, but you still feel
Yeah,
those
yeah, yeah.
nerves, don't you? So I thought maybe for me this year, no seminars. But as it turns out, obviously we're doing one in a
Mm,
few weeks, and there's a couple of other things that I'm involved in. So I think maybe Joe and Greg were talking about doing their tour again. So we had a good time with Joe and Greg in Dunstable. So we said we may be doing that again. And I think there was something else that I may be teaching on the cards. We did one for Dan Young last year. I think you're teaching for Dan, aren't you?
mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Later
yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
He's got a really good group and really receptive to your ideas as well. Um, so yeah, we did
That,
one for Dan last year. Maybe if he enjoyed it, we'll do that again this year. But I'm really
mm.
not trying to push it to do seminars. I'll be greedy and do them for me. So to go and attend things.
I do think that you should do more because you do quality teaching, and I always enjoy sessions with you. And I think there's quite a few people in UK who I think should teach more and be more appreciated. So that's why I feel like why I've got 26 seminars when I'm kind of average,
Oh
and you
no,
guys are,
yeah,
and you guys, that's my personal
that's how you feel, isn't
view,
it? Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like Don came, you
yeah,
yourself,
yeah,
you guys should, Greg and Joe, Mary,
yeah,
those you guys should be teaching more and kind of carve up the market more for yourselves and
yeah.
be more
Well,
appreciated. So
I think there is the first Abernethy seminar coming up soon, isn't there?
yeah, that's the kata creation or something.
That's it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So there you go.
I've got a
Dynamic
seminar.
team.
Yeah, I've got a seminar with the taller Abernathy as well. Um, in April,
Or
but we're
one of
gonna
the shorter ones. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Well, we're gonna be focusing on a coaching actually, so not so much applications, but how to coach and how to keep your students happy and returning to a club. So that I'm looking forward to it a lot.
I think that's good actually. That's a good topic for a seminar, really, or even the podcast. Because I think
Mm,
it's it, I think if you're running a good club, you don't necessarily need to advertise, well, unless you want to grow. But you don't need to advertise for students that much because you retain them. Because
mhm,
if you're a good coach, you're not got a constant cycle of students coming in and out your door, have you?
yeah.
You keep them for time because you're a good coach and you engage and they've got an interest in what you're teaching.
Or you've
So I
got
think
bad,
yeah, that's an important one. Yes,
or you've got the bad students like I do. I try to get rid of them every session for 20 nearly years now, and they keep coming back. Can't get rid of them.
yeah, yeah. Luke does that to me, and he travels. But no, they're
Yeah.
they're good. They're good students, really. But yeah,
Yeah, we had we
yeah. So that's good. So
I done seminar like that 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I think in Cornwall, and there was quite a few of us, so I didn't have much time. So I decided to do kind of coaching, how I coach, how I encourage people. My students don't worry about punching me and getting me because they know
yeah,
they're not going to be punished, right? Because I think the culture, many clubs I heard from my
yeah,
students is that they get punished if they embarrass the sensei, right?
yeah.
And I had a lot of people coming and having good feedback that, oh, wow, this was something different. We never heard this. So that's why I think there's need for it.
Well, it's funny, isn't it? Even in the club, you get some students that may have come from somewhere else, and they see
Mm,
the instructor on the mat sparring with the other students, and like you say, accepting, they, I've got people in my club that are better than me at sparring. He wasn't there the night you turned up, but there's a guy, John, that he used to do MMA, Muay Thai, and he did a bit of judo as well. And he's really, really good, And so when I'm sparring with him, I have a really, really hard time. Um, but I'm not going to shy away from it. Even though I'm the club instructor, I'm going to learn from him. Those students in the club, and I think you know if he was afraid to hit me because it's the sensei, it's wrong, isn't it? It's really
mm.
really wrong,
Yeah.
and
I got one
sends out the
student
wrong
who,
messages.
yeah, I had one student who she punched me like a right hook really nicely. And then she started immediately running away. I said, "What are you doing?" And just, that was great. She said, "No, no, because I done that in the last club and Sensei beat me up." I said, "Well,
No, oh no, no, no,
that's
no,
not gonna
yeah,
happen here. I just
yeah,
congratulate you. You got me. Well done. That's what we're training, right?
yeah.
I'm giving you
Actually,
everything what I've got, so you get better than me."
yeah. Actually, the week after you came, so you had a lucky escape. Actually, so I don't know if you trained with Ildi. She did Ildiko. She
Yeah,
did
yeah,
Kyokushin.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I was sparring with her the week after, and she just caught me beautifully. It wasn't even a hard kick, but it was perfect timing, perfect distance. I think I walked into it a little bit, and it's like a spinning hook kick, and she got me in my
Mhm.
floating ribs. And I'm going to keep talking about this to make her feel guilty, but if she listens to this, um, but yeah, she caught me beautifully, and I was a little bit annoyed at the time because it's one of those things. I knew it was bad, and I knew it cracked my ribs. And I think, well, that's 6 weeks out of training now that I can't do any sparring. But it wasn't like, oh, I didn't get angry with her. I didn't. I was just a bit annoyed, a bit annoyed with
Mm,
myself, and a bit annoyed that I couldn't train, but not annoyed with her, because
mm.
she did a beautiful kick and it was really good. I've got the video of it. I've not. I should really share it publicly and
You should.
congratulate her because it was so good. It was so good. Um, and she's a really good fighter as well, and she shouldn't be afraid. And she's not actually. She'll happily punch me about and kick me. And I say she shouldn't be afraid to spar with a sensei or even catch you with a punch or a kick. It's wrong,
Mm,
isn't it? It's absolutely
mm.
wrong. Um,
But to
and
be
I
honest,
think
yeah, go on.
yeah, I was gonna say I think when you taught at Tracy's, everybody was surprised that you jumped on the mat and you were sparring with everybody. Because
They couldn't
they was
stop.
expecting you. Yeah, they was expecting you to be teaching, but it's not nice. It's fun time now, and it's playtime.
I've got really big problems with that. I have to now announce to my students because I've got that problem with my collarbone. And it's just like over Christmas. Oh wow, this is great. I haven't trained. It's good. So I went BJJ sparring, yours.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
sparring in a club and shoulder very bad, very bad.
Oh,
So
right.
I have,
Yeah. It
yeah, I have
reminded
to,
you. Yeah.
yeah, I'm coming into the dojo and I'm telling my guys, if I want to train, if I want to jump into sparring, just tell me I can't because I will do it. I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
love sparring. It's just good fun. Like you said,
Yeah.
it makes me feel alive and
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
appreciate how your students growing because for me in my dojo now with the guys who are longer with me, I'm struggling to learn stuff. They know me so well now and they're getting so much better and they're taller than me and they're heavier than me and they're younger than me that it's a really
Yeah.
struggle to
But
do stuff.
when you came over with Nick, he's fantastic, isn't he? He's really, really good.
Mm,
I was really impressed, when we came to your dojo, the students you had there, they're green belts at the time, and they're more than happy to mix it up. So that's the sort of environment you want, isn't it? You want people
mm.
not afraid of sparring. You've created a great culture there where people enjoy it rather than fear it.
Yeah,
So
because
yeah, yeah,
it's that what we've been talking about, right? Because nobody's punishing them. If you don't punish your students, they're happy doing stuff, right? It's
yeah,
quite simple. So,
yeah, yeah.
but
So, so yeah,
I see very similar culture in your dojo, and I think that this kind of methodology, instead of that old-fashioned sensei with a stick, it's got a future and it's going to attract more people to martial arts. And I think that's the part why the wrestling, the MMA is more popular because this is kind of the style of coaching. Not in every
yeah,
gym, but overall, this is the kind of fun,
absolutely, yeah,
sparringy environment.
yeah, and you want to be able to spar in a fun environment with obviously you're sparring, so there is risk of
Mm.
injury, but you want to try and minimize that, don't you? So you can do it, and top athletes do this. So MMA fighters and Muay Thai fighters, their sparring is playful, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's not heavy, and everybody is saying about the Muay Thai when they're doing their play fighting in the clinch, it is it looks effective what they're doing, but they're not hurting each other at all. It's it's
Mm.
it's really top level athletes doing it not week in week, day in day out, isn't it? It's not week in week out, it's day in day out.
Mm.
They're sparring constantly and they're keeping it light and playful. And then when you go and see them in the arena, they can turn it on, when they need to. And
Yeah.
I think if you're going into that kind of combat arena, I suppose now and again you would need some hard sparring,
Mhm.
just to know you can do it. But if like me, a hobbyist, I don't ever need to do it really. I just want to do it for fun, you know.
Plus, if you're not paid million to be punched in the head really hard, there's
But
no
there's
point doing it.
yeah, I've a few brain cells left, and I like to keep them. So
Exactly.
this is it. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so yeah, going back to the open mats, I think to try and create that environment for the open mats would be brilliant, and we'll get
Mm.
that going definitely this year. I'm going
I'm
to
sure
definitely
it's
do
gonna
my
grow slowly, and it's gonna be a successful. So we've got few
yeah,
locations that we can do and rotate around between different clubs, and I'm sure it's gonna be successful. So you
yeah.
got any other plans for the club?
I say other than Kieran's doing his
Mm.
doing the kudo that's starting this Tuesday coming. Um, just chipping away as we normally are, really. We what and I got this from Mao as well. It's just creating a nice um, bond between you and your students. So now we try and like to go to seminars together, and so you share those experiences together. And it's created a really good bond within the students. Like you say, when you're fighting together, you feel a great bond. So I feel like our club over the last couple of years has got closer together as a team, as a friendships. And I think it's because of the things that we do outside of the dojo as well. So like, although it was only Luke and myself who came down to your seminar with Ian, we had another 4 students go off to the kudo seminar. So
Mhm.
it's doing things together. And so for us, one of the things that we enjoyed over the last couple of years is going to Mao's event in Cardiff. So we'll be doing that again. I think last year 8 of us went. And like I say, sharing those experiences with your students, and then you've got stories to tell as well, haven't you? So
Mm. Yeah.
so there's that we're doing. But as far as the club, I think really happy with the way our club our club's going. So no change of location like yourself, or no, you
Mm.
know, we have our AGM. So at the end of the year, we just had it recently, and we talked about our syllabus. We didn't revise it at all because we felt, the last time we did it, we made enough changes to not want to do anything this year. We felt it was okay as it was. So syllabus stays the same, training stays the same. Um, but yeah, and looking out for good events, like what you're putting on. So
Mhm.
that's
Yeah,
our
we
that's our,
we
our
putting
main goals this year. Yeah, I don't know. It's actually, which is a real shame. You talked
on.
about Don earlier, and he was doing a seminar with John Johnson the
Hmm.
weekend before ours. So, and for me, it was only down the road, so I would have gone to it. But I limit myself. I'm a wise man now. I limit it to one a month. To keep the family
Yeah,
happy.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So one
That's the
seminar a month for me
that
that
is
I'll go to.
important. That is important.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay,
so yeah, go on.
I was gonna finish it, but if you wanna say something, say
No,
something.
it wasn't really important. So yeah, you go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much for joining me. I need to put the kids to sleep, so gonna be finishing. But guys, if you wanna join our seminar, it's in February. Link down below. If you're watching on YouTube, link floating somewhere on one of those sites. I never know where to point it. Um,
There.
yeah, and join in. It's gonna be great fun. There's myself, Brian, and some guy from Germany who didn't want to talk to us today. But it's gonna be fine. Even there's a slight possibility that Sean Connery gonna join us
Really?
if you're
Okay.
lucky.
Osh
Yeah.
is what he would say. Osh.
Whoosh. Hi, Brian. Thank you very much, and I speak to you soon. And I see you
Yeah.
soon.
Thanks for having us again. And yeah, we'll see you very soon. Us.
At Karate for Mental Health CIC, the mission is simple but powerful. To use the discipline, confidence, and community of karate to support people living with disabilities, mental health challenges, and those from disadvantaged backgrounds. For your support, Karate for Mental Health provides free karate training, helping individuals grow stronger, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Karate for Mental Health now offers workshops, courses, and exclusive merchandise, and every purchase directly funds these life-changing projects. Join the mission, make an impact. Enjoy 15% of your purchases with the code AAB15. Whether you are passionate about mental health, martial arts, or simply want to make a difference, your support helps building people up. One kick, one class, one moment at a time. Visit Karate for Mental Health CIC, CEO UK, gear up, get involved, and help change lives.